Good morning and welcome to your Farm and Home Show. My name is Joanna and this morning we're visiting with Henry Smith. He's a graduate student at the University of Kentucky working with Dr. Nicole Gaucher in plant pathology. We're going to talk a little bit about soil-borne pathogens and how that kind of plays into our diseases that we might see in the garden or in the field.
Right. So especially in vegetable production, some of our most common soil-borne pathogens we encounter are Rhizoctonia, Pythium, and Fusarium diseases. And soil-borne pathogens are particularly hard to manage, and they really cause a lot of damage. So they're very important to get on top of. So first thing we have to do when we talk about managing these diseases is excluding them, keeping them from even getting a foothold in your garden. So to really effectively exclude these three pathogens, you have to use clean seed, clean transplants, and you really have to use clean potting mix. So whenever you look at your potting mix, make sure there's nothing growing on there. And that can really reduce your chances of even getting these diseases. But say you unfortunately get these diseases, the management is tricky, but there are ways we can handle it. So the first thing we can do is crop rotation. So to really have an effective crop rotation to manage these soil-borne diseases, you have to have an accurate diagnosis. And your county extension officer can help you with that. Because when you talk about rotation for Rhizoctonia, it's very difficult. You have to be very specific. But when you're talking about rotation for a Fusarium disease, these Fusarium diseases are typically very host specific. So if you have Fusarium wilt of tomato, you could rotate to broccoli or lettuce or something and really get a good crop out of that.
So knowing what is there and what you have, some more information is helpful.
Yes. So an accurate diagnosis really helps with the rotation plan and some other management options, especially resistant varieties. If you use a resistant variety that's resistant to Rhizoctonia, but you really have Fusarium, you're not going to see any difference. So accurate diagnosis is important. And then some general management things that help with soil-borne diseases is making sure your soil is not holding too much water. Because if your soil is really wet, especially Pythium loves that, you'll get a lot of root rot. So make sure you're not overwatering. That's a big one. Also, an option is using fungicide-treated seeds. If you have these pathogens in your soil, you can use a treated seed, whether it be coated with azoxystrobin or something else. Your county extension agent can help you with that. And those will really help your plants get up and going and really be able to defend themselves a little bit better from those soil-borne pathogens.
Now, when we're talking about management, you talked about crop rotation, resistant varieties, some of those things. How long is that soil-borne pathogen? Is it a long persisting? Would it be an option to maybe move your garden for a period of time?
That would be a really great idea. So these soil-borne pathogens, they make these very tough survival structures, and they can live in the soil for many years. So when we talk about rotation, you really have to rotate away for multiple years, or if you can, move the garden and let things die out for a while would be the best option.
Yeah, so if we see people that are having issues year after year, sometimes it might be better just to find a new garden location.
That's right.
And then I think you mentioned crop rotation and making sure the species or the varieties, when we do that, we have a publication that kind of walks you through that because you're like, well, I don't know which ones I can do, right? So we have some guidance on that.
Yes. And then another thing, once you start that new garden, you really have to make sure you're not tracking the soil back and forth, because then you'll just bring the disease that was in your garden before to your new garden.
And I think that's a good point, because not only can we track it physically on our shoes, but on our tools, on our machinery, and those type of things. So we don't want to introduce the problem that we had into our new garden.
That's right.
All right, I think those are all good tips. Now, Henry, where can people find more information?
Well, your local county extension agent can help you a lot. And also, Dr. Nicole Gaucher, the extension specialist, she is the expert on all this, and anyone in the extension service can help you with that.
All right, Henry, we'll certainly appreciate the information. And if you have questions, or if you're seeing something in your garden, you're not quite sure what it is, make sure to contact your local extension office and we can help you diagnose the situation that you have and hopefully remedy that problem with some of the tips that Henry said if you have those soil-borne pathogens. We appreciate you watching the Farm and Home Show, and we hope you have a great day.